For more on the tourism industry and revenge traveling, I'm joined by Jonathan Cao. He's the Managing Director of Greater China BCD Travel. Good to see you again. Let me talk about the situation here in China, because it's been closed for so long that now it's open, and I have lots of reports that tickets are being bought and people are definitely excited to get out there and travel. But then you have this sort of opposite story where there's concern still about COVID. Walk me through what we can expect in 2023.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for having me. Yes, I think it is definitely a great time right now that China is opening up its borders on 2 days from now, on the 8th of January. We are seeing a lot of increasing demand for travel, international traveling outside of China, and also people coming back to China as well without having to quarantine again. So we're seeing definitely increasing traffic, and the expectation for 23 is a pretty good recovery, not so much to 2019 level, but I think that will definitely make up a lot of lost ground in the past few years.
The testing requirement that some countries, and I emphasize the word some countries, are requiring Chinese travelers to do you think that's going to be, a big deal, or is it a very small thing that most travelers will be willing to subject themselves to a negative test?
Yes, I think it's quite disappointing to see that some countries are imposing testing requirements. Again, it seems that we're going backwards. I think it is not really scientific based. There are many other things countries can do if they're worried, like testing of wastewater and voluntary testing of passengers when they are landed. But I think that we need to just move on and start having unrestricted travel like we did in 2019 again.
Right. Are you suggesting that China, I guess, drop their requirements as well for testing for inbound travelers, and basically both sides to drop the testing requirement?
That's correct. So China now requires a self-voluntary declaration coming inbound to China.
Describe what that means, so there's no test required, or you just say that you don't have COVID?
Yeah, so you still need to do a test, like a rapid antigen test or a PCR test. There is an app or a website where you go on and declare the status, where have you been in the last 7 days, and basically self-declare your negative status.
Right. Which, by the way, we've seen countries do this from time to time, even prior to COVID. I remember filling out a number of those forms. Let's talk about Chinese New Year. Look, my personal thinking is that I don't think any testing requirements can prevent people from wanting to get out there and travel, because they've been cooped up for so long. People want to go out and have fun, and people want to do stuff. And Chinese New Year is around the corner, and for viewers watching that aren't familiar with it, there is a number of days off, and this is prime time to go out and do stuff. Where are the Chinese travelers going to? Is it Europe? Is it the Americas? Is it internally? Is it maybe sticking in Asia?
Yeah, so I think it's a mix. So I know a lot of people who have not been back to their hometown in the past 3 years due to the travel restrictions within China. So people are certainly going back to their hometown. We'll see a great migration of travel this season. And for international travel, I think the capacity is still not fully recovered. So there's increasing international flights. People are going to, in the short term, would be to Thailand, to Japan, to Hong Kong and Macau, and Singapore as well. So, but we'll see more regional recovery in the longer term. But for the Chinese New Year, I think most of the travelers will still be within China.
Right. So just to follow up on that, so obviously there'll be an impact domestically because there's more people traveling within. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are looking forward to traveling to Asia, specifically to China as well, to celebrate the Chinese New Year. So you're also going to have Chinese people from all over the world coming to China to celebrate the New Year as well. Is that something that you're expecting that's going to be obviously very positive for the economy?
That's correct. So we will see and a lot of people are waiting to come back to China now that the quarantine has been dropped, because that was what was preventing them from coming back. And also the lack of flight capacity in the past also was a deterrent. But now that with the circuit breaker rules no longer in place, and also increasing flights from all the airlines, so we'll definitely see more people coming back to China.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's excited. I look at it as glass half full, that they'll figure out all these requirements and eventually they'll slowly dissipate. But for now, let's just enjoy the fact we can all sort of travel again, mostly at ease. Jonathan, Cal, really appreciate the time with us on this, and Happy New Year.